discrimination. I don't know if you have some idea about gender discrimination. We have some ideas about the other sex. See, the jobs, they are the washermen, they are full of muscle and strength, and they will be earning and so on. Gender constructs. And therefore we also perceive that when it comes to women at the workplace, many think, why should women go out to work when they are, which becomes visible at the workplace. Students, I will study those two women in that picture. What consequences might be happening to them as a result of the sexual harassment, I just categorize in two ways. One, completely finished. Person will feel defeated, degraded. They have said all the 3 Ds there. Professionally also be fast, reaching and very strong. Remember, the consequences are all negative. There are no positive consequences to sexual harassment. Okay, next. And so today I thought I will just share with you. Next, please. Yeah, no. Yes, yeah. I'll be telling you about the POSH Act. But before I come to the POSH Act, I just wanted to share with you the background story to the POSH Act. Okay? So this law, students, the POSH Act came in 2013. Now the question is, if the law came in 2013, does it mean that prior to 2013 there was no sexual harassment of women at the workplace? Any thoughts on this? What do you think? Or we did not have a law, sexual harassment used to happen in 2 ways. Which answer do you think is the correct one? Sexual harassment would be there? Yes, very good. Sexual harassment would be there, but the unfortunate part would be, or was, where they can go and get, that when you and I have a headache, some of you can say, after you stop talking, there is this talk of yours only, you are getting headache. And after this lecture, they might go and have a tablet because of that headache. Why do you want a tablet? To file a criminal case. They have to go to the police and take all the trouble to get that person punished. Criminal law, remember, punishes a person. And they had to prove certain sections under the Indian Penal Code. Now the law has changed to BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay? So don't worry about that. We are just going further. Then in 2013, students, we have the POSH Act coming into force. And then we have something called the UGC regulations which apply to you. Alright? Next. Now I'll just tell you a little about something prior to the POSH Act, which I said women did not have anywhere to go. There's a very interesting case known as Vishaka versus the state of Rajasthan, way back in 1997. The case of Vishaka, students, is this. Vishaka is not the name of the lady. The name of the lady is Banbari Devi. She was a social worker, okay, in Rajasthan, and she used to work for the government. Government wanted them, these social workers, to go and spread, information and awareness, just like I'm doing today, that child marriage should not be encouraged. Child marriage is prohibited. Okay? Marrying children very young is not a good idea. So Banbari Devi went to one place where a marriage of a 1-year-old child was about to happen, and she tried to call off that wedding. Okay? Now because she interfered in the happening of that, the family got so agitated and angry with her that they, it was a big, hue and cry about her activity. And to cut the long story short, one day while she was at work, Banbari Devi gets raped, gang raped. Okay? They say that she was gang raped even in the presence of her husband. Husband was, pinned down and she was raped. So what happened with now this case, Banbari Devi's case? Banbari Devi went from pillar to post wanting justice. But you find that the police were making it little difficult for her. They were making trouble to register the case. Ultimately they did it, but it did not get any justice. Banbari Devi did not get anything. She went to the court. In the court, the judge says, we can't understand. Can you just take this slide, please? We can't understand how a woman of a lower caste could get raped by men of an upper caste. Shocking statement made by a judge of the court, of the lower courts in Rajasthan. How a woman of lower caste could get raped by men of a higher caste. Got it? This was too much to take. Finally, we find that a women's organization by the name Vishaka got in touch with Balwani Devi. They took up her cause and they filed a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court of India, the highest court in India. And before the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice at that time was Justice Verma, he came out, he and the other members of the court, they came out, the other judges, they came out with something called Vishaka Guidelines. And in the Vishaka Guidelines, students, they said, a woman at her workplace has to be protected. Now, how is she going to be protected will be a question which you have in your mind. Are we going to give a bodyguard to each woman? Not possible, no? We don't have resources for that. And it will be very strange having a bodyguard walking with you and me everywhere. So they said, we are going to put the obligation on the employer. The employer where the woman works will have to create a committee, and that committee will make sure that if any woman faces any kind of sexual harassment while she is at work, her situation is going to be addressed at that committee. And it was for the first time that in that Vishaka's case, you find that the courts taught and recognized this very outrageous crime called sexual harassment. For the first time, 1997. Next. Showing pornography. This is my third, unwelcome. Request for sexual favors. All this, if anybody does to a woman while she is at the workplace, will constitute or will mean that there is sexual harassment. Next. They also said, the law also says, students, if there is any woman who refuses the advances of the boss or the colleague, male colleague, anybody, and because of that refusal, she is suffering any of these situations, these circumstances. What suffers? The person says, you don't sleep with me, I will go do this to you. I will make sure that you will suffer in your job. I will see that you don't get a promotion. I will stop your increment. I will give you a bad service record. Or, if I want to have sexual favors, the opposite. If you are with me, if you get physically intimate with me, I promise you the world. I'll take you, I'll give you the highest promotion possible in your career. Or any of such things. So if I refuse, I know what the consequences would be in my workplace. It would be so difficult, it would be a very hostile environment for me to work in. And when you are telling me, if you do this with me, I will give you this and that. The law says any of these two situations, if they are connected with sexual harassment, wherever there is a request or a demand for it, remember, sometimes it may be politely asked, sometimes it may be just be demanded. Either of the ways, remember, there is sexual harassment. Next. I want to just share this case with you. You are not familiar with cases of that person. Depends on each person. The moment I feel that particular person is coming too close for my comfort, his act or behavior becomes unwelcome for me. Right? So sexual harassment is of a nature where it is unwelcome, it is sexual in nature, it is a subjective experience. The one who is feeling it is the impact that it has on me, not the intent, and it often occurs in a matrix of power. So usually it may happen where there is a boss and a colleague or a supervisor and a person lower down, but need not be. It can also be when I'm at the same level. Okay? Next. So these are some examples, students. I think that font is a bit small, sorry for that. Telling a person about how her body is. That, focusing on her attributes. Or it could be some obscene phone calls, text. So any of these things could amount to sexual harassment. So what is important? If you ask that man who told that lady, come closer and you will no longer feel cold, if you ask him, he will say, I had nothing in my mind. Agree? I just said for fun. I just made a joke. I just made it in the form of amusement. But the law is not bothered about what the man is, he had in his mind. He might have been innocent, but the thing is, if you say something which is in the nature of what we just explained as sexual harassment, remember the consequences are a little dangerous. So, what we are saying here is that perception that the woman is feeling unwelcome, that the act is not nice, what he did to me, I didn't like it, allows her to file for sexual harassment. Students, are you okay with me? Are you understanding? All okay? Thank you.
Gratitude to everyone who has joined us for this important session on sexual harassment. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Couto. Your insightful, comprehensive and candid discussion on the topic, especially in helping us understand sexual harassment in detail and all its aspects, has not only enlightened us but has also empowered us to foster a safer and more respectful environment. Your expertise and dedication to this crucial issue is truly inspiring. I would also like to thank our entire organizing team, from our dedicated teachers, Ma'am Junsa Mudras, Ma'am Vandana Patil and Ma'am Nisha Sakwara, to the students of BAMC who took the initiative of organizing this talk. Not to mention the efforts of the IT department, MTS staff and cleaners which also helped in making this event a success. A special thank you to our attendees for your active participation. Your presence here today signifies a collective commitment to understanding, preventing and addressing sexual harassment.